Hello, Likers. Welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl, Malika. So, Likers, here we are doing a critical review of Mr. Aloy's series where marriage becomes a nightmare, episode 46, part 1. It starts with Jonathan that was so overwhelmed, by the goodness of Clara. He realized that he realized that Clara was the one who did this. He was really happy. He couldn't believe his eyes. You know, saying that this is a woman that he has been fighting, insulting, doing all sorts of stuff against, yet she was able to come through for him. He was really crying. He couldn't come in terms with that because this is Clara we are talking about. So the next thing shows Teresa, who is there, trying to caution Benny, telling her that she talks too much and she's disrespectful. I don't see Benita as a disrespectful child. I just see a child that her mother raised to be able to express herself. Yes, her tongue is sharp because she's somehow spontaneous. She sees things, she says exactly the way she saw it. So she saw her dad coming downstairs, and she was wondering if her father was okay. But her father made them to understand that he was fine because, he's hungry, his family is hungry, he needed to give them some money. But as human nature, automatically it will make you to be surprised, because that this person is broke. Then all of a sudden you see the person, bringing out money, but cannot even explain how that money came about. Automatically you feel like it is miracle money, and really it's miracle. It's really miracle money because sometimes money like that comes in handy, like you were not expecting it, you didn't know where it was coming from, like nothing. And she was really happy, but she was wondering because to her, she didn't see her dad go out, that she would think that maybe he got money from somewhere, but where is this money coming from? That shows you that she loves her father, she cares, and she does not want him to get in trouble. Whereas Teresa, her own, she's a very greedy woman because she just collected it and didn't care to know where it was coming from. According to her, she pushed him so hard where he went and brought money from where he hid it. It's not as if you gave this person money to keep, it's not as if you gave him money to hide. Why would you think that he hid money somewhere and now he collected it because you pushed him, because you made him do so? Sometimes some people can just be wild, some people can just be crazy, honestly speaking. So there are some people that will just be saying things like they are mad, because if you don't know somebody, you need to get to know them. But Benita, being an intelligent child, she made her aunt understand that my dad will never hide money and starve. He's not that type of person. Teresa is even supposed to know that Jonathan is that type that if he has money, he will definitely go and celebrate. It's true that he's been going through some rough times, so celebrations are not really his thing these days, but he will want to hide money and starve, honestly. Yes, I know I've come in contact with some people that are self-centered. They are selfish even with their own body, even with their own selves, that they are stingy. They don't want to even eat something good to feed themselves. Yes, I've seen people like that, but people need to understand that sometimes, it's not always like that. So the next thing shows somebody knocking on the door, a hand, and the person who opened was Clara. So it was Clara's house, and that person happens to be Hanks. Hanks paid a surprise visit to Clara, God only knows why. There's this way Clara feels whenever she sees Hanks. She's excited, but she holds herself because she knows that she is a marima, even though she's been accused of infidelity, which is not true. So Clara wanted to find out how Hanks's family was doing, his mom and himself, his business and everything. Just small talk. Whereas Hanks went there to for something serious. Hanks went to tell Clara that he has been approved to open another branch of his company in Canada, which was something that he has been expecting, and now it has come to fruition, it has come to pass. He's very happy. So, but Clara, that is not the good news. That is not the news that Clara wanted to hear. Clara was shocked the lies to hear Canada, which means he will be going, because there are some people that Clara, yes, Clara is not seeing, is not dating this guy, but Clara will prefer to be seeing him, even though she's not dating him, for him just to be around. So, as they were talking, they heard a knock on the door, you know Clara then woke up to go and check like who it might be, who is like trying to disturb. So she opened the door, whole and behold, my people, only for her to find, like she was shocked the lies, honestly speaking, when she found out that it was none other than her husband, Jonathan. This is the first time they come face to face in Clara's house ever since she moved out, from her home. So Jonathan went there to talk to Clara because Jonathan realized that Clara is, is a woman that he needs in his life. He went there initially to apologize, to talk to her, but as soon as he wanted to say something, he saw a silhouette, and when he looked down, it was none other than Hanks, and eventually all hell loose. Yes, all hell will lose because to him Hanks is not supposed to be there. But Clara has nothing to hide. She's not doing anything with Hanks. Eventually, she wanted, to be sure that, like, she could have told Hanks maybe to hide. But if you have nothing to hide, telling him to hide will be as if you're hiding something, and stuff like that. But we know Jonathan will automatically forget all good manners and start insulting his wife, calling her names, how she is, she is an OS, stuff like that, which is very wrong for a man to call his own wife like that. So to him, it's more like this is who she has always been, an OS. This was who she was, and stuff like that, and she can never change. But at some point, he thought she would change. Like, how do you even call a woman that you are? You like you got married to an OS. Are you okay? Hmm? Like, Omo, and Clara couldn't take it and gave him was him a serious slap, eh, you know. And like Clara could not understand, like, first and foremost, what were you there to do? And him, the next thing you want to beat her up in the presence of Hanks, and we know Hanks will not let that happen. If you see the punch that Hanks gave it to his eye, it was just the eye that Hanks calculated it. The eye, he punch him. He gave an uppercut. My God, and you can see that Jonathan is a weakly. Jonathan is so weak. The only time he wants to fight is when he's fighting his wife. Now, Jonathan woke up, even though he was crying his eye, to attack Hanks so that they could fight. While Clara was there, trying to pull herself together. So the next thing shows Jonathan that got defeated, like he was frustrated. He left Clara's place and immediately placed a call to his friend Emeka. Remember some time ago, Emeka wanted them to sabotage Clara's restaurant, and he wanted Jonathan to do it. Now Jonathan called to find out what to do to sabotage the restaurant. He is ready. This is a woman who just gave you 50K, and this is a woman who takes care of your daughter's bills, and you want to do this to her? Are you for real? Are you for real? Because you met her chatting with this guy, and she slapped you because you called her an OS, and the guy punched you. You want to revenge, and he's talking how he'll destroy her. Like, this is your family, for crying out loud. This is your family. You must be the weakest man on earth, honestly. So the next scene shows Jonathan, who has disguised himself at night, breaking into Clara's restaurant. And his friend Emeka, almighty Emeka, that he called to arrange a plan with, Emeka is there filming him. Yes, Emeka is filming him. You see, this is the kind of friend that Jonathan deserves, because people like Emeka will be the ones to bring him down faster than he even thinks. You understand? Because to Emeka, this is the best thing ever. And if he's filming, it means he will use it as evidence against you. Yes, at the end of the day. That is very certain. The next thing shows Jonathan, who got back from his mischievous activities. He got into the house, unknowing to him that his daughter is in the kitchen, I think, taking water to drink. It was very late. Now he's hiding his disguise. What he used to disguise is hiding it. And his daughter saw him, and she was wondering what was going on, what was her father doing. It is late. Why would her father be awake this time? Besides, he was out then. What was he hiding? And we know this child is very clever. This girl is super intelligent. So the next thing shows Clara's restaurant the next day. I think she made these guys, they ordered a goosey soup and pounded yam. They are eating, but all of a sudden the other guys, because there were two of them, the other one with the white shirt started feeling uncomfortable, like his tummy was aching. He was coughing, and he started coughing Zobo, BLOOD. Yeah, he started coughing Zobo. Clara tried to console him. The other guy behind Clara is got do the same thing, like he's having the same symptoms. That something is obvious, and they are wondering what is wrong with the food that they are eating for them to have the same symptoms at the same time, because they started eating at the same time. And it, like, things like this will make anyone panic. Yes, this is your restaurant we are talking about. Clara panicked and freaked out. She freaked out and she passed out, because this is her restaurant, this is her livelihood. What is she going to say? What is she going to do? Two people have died. That was what she was thinking. The next thing shows Hanks that was just getting into the office. As soon as he wanted to have a seat, his phone rang. Obviously, because at this point, who will Clara call? She cannot call her useless husband. He will laugh at her because he's the one who did that. And Hanks was wondering, like, why is Clara calling? Thank God he picked the call, and found out that Clara is almost crying. People are thinking that maybe she did something wrong, or that maybe she put something in her restaurant or in her food or whatsoever. You see, that's how people will sabotage people out there, honestly. So the next thing shows Jonathan that went somewhere with Uber, so he took the Uber to go where he was going to, and he paid 2K instead of 3K. And the Uber guy is making him to understand that, guy, it is 3K, not 2K. He said he used to pay 2K. You cannot say that. Why? Because, for instance, if I order an Uber now that I'm making this series, it's lunchtime now. Yes, it will be more expensive because of congestion. If you order it at a certain time, it will reduce the same place where you're going to. You understand? But he is not seeing it that way. He's saying that he's used to paying 2K, so it's 2K. So you're fighting this guy because of 1K. If somebody falls now and buy because of 1K, you people are fighting. So Jonathan is explaining it to this passerby who saw them fighting. She decided to stop and help, like, because she didn't want them to fight. So she stopped to try to see how she could, assist. When she heard that it was just 3K, she was confused, like, 3K? You people are fighting, like, it's funny, like, but I understand also. I can understand, because I've missed an audition, a movie audition, because I didn't have transport money to go. Yes, I was broke. You see, so I can understand, I can relate to it. So she reached out to her car, she got her bag, picked up her phone to send transfer to the driver. And Jonathan, there's one thing about Jonathan that is so irritating: the fact that he'll be telling you that you don't have to do that, whereas he does not have money. He'll be playing modest. He want to be modest, whereas with his wife he will not be that modest. He'll be ordering her to do that. So the guy called her his account number, and the stranger paid, but she gave him 5K, instead of the 3K, which made forced Jonathan to keep his 2K. So the girl definitely realized Jonathan was stressed out, or she consoled Jonathan and even hugged him by making him understand that she understands that there are times like that person will be broke. That does not mean you will remain broke. And it's true, like us. I feel bad for people that cannot relate to this, that they will not understand that there's certain time that in your life that you will not have money, that you will be broke, that even to eat, to buy bread, you will not even have. Seriously. So she asked Jonathan to pick up his money so that she would drop him wherever he's going to. It doesn't matter, just that Jonathan should be out of that place. Yes. And she walked to her car and asked Jonathan to hop into the passenger's side. So the next scene shows Clara at the hospital who is crying. She's devastated that she might be going to Kirikiri because she has cried two people, and her daughter was consoling her. She was crying for her mother and all the rest. She said she has lost everything. Yes, it's heartbreaking, like us, because at this point she has lost everything. But Jonathan, what Hanks was there, Hanks consoled her. Hanks told her, no, you've not lost everything. Hanks makes her understand that so long as I'm breathing, you cannot lose anything. I am here for you. you know I'll do everything. I'll do everything. So her daughter is just trying to plead with her mother, make her mother to understand that she'll be fine and everything will be okay, and all the rest. And that if not for Hanks, they would have like bite her. Population would have bite her. And right now all she's thinking now is her restaurant. She's not even thinking about her health, and she's scared that those guys are bite. Luckily that they are responding to treatment, they have not bite. They are okay. They will be fine. They will be fine. And Jonathan promised, Hanks promised her that he will stand by her. Benny felt a little bit hurt. Why? Because she still has hope that her parents will come back together. So the next scene shows Jonathan, who got home with the stranger, to show her around. Like us, we are going to end here. Okay, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate you guys. Like us, protect your mental health. Protect everything that is worth protecting, for you, and do your best to always be on the right side of the law. We'll have to end this on this note. I have to say bye.